Hello and welcome back to today's Live from the Archives. As you can see, we're in a completely different setting today. So last time I was in the search room, and it is normally available by appointment when we are open, but if you just follow the link after this video and it will give you details to the archive service and also how to contact us. So today I'm in one of the archive storerooms. We have 4 altogether. And while we're here, I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you how we take care of these items. Okay, so there's conservation. Right, I'm just going to show you. Now this is something called a Therma Hygrometer, which is just a posh word for a thermometer. And it measures the temperature and humidity in each storeroom. I don't know whether you can see, I know you can't feel it, but it's 14 degrees and 44 humidity. Now, that is cool and dry. So, we do keep the temperature cool and the air dry, and it's because it is the best way to preserve historic materials. Humidity, extreme exposures to ultraviolet light and high temperatures can cause a deterioration of archive materials. And also, in order to reduce light pollution, when we're not using these rooms, we turn all the lights off at all times. So me and the archivist keep these daily readings. We dust regularly and also check for insects and pests. And it's just a few of the many, many ways that we take care of your archives. Okay, so on to the actual exhibition. So I thought today, while we are in the Gamble building, to actually talk about the building and also the man behind it, which is David Gamble, which I have a picture of here. So I can get it down carefully. Hopefully you can see. Okay. Yeah. So Sir David Gamble, hopefully many of you will know who he is. So he was the first Mayor of St Helens, elected in 1868, 1869 and then again in 1882, which shows this man's popularity and why we still talk about him today. So he was honoured with the role after setting up what is called the St Helens Improvement Commission, and it was to improve health, housing and education within St Helens, and ultimately petition Queen Victoria to make St Helens a borough. So after he was made Mayor, he wanted to continue his work in improving life in St Helens. He was a big advocate of education, and he did love the benefits of learning and gave money to local schools and donated £36,000, I'm not quite sure what that is in today's currency, to open this very, very building we now call the Gamble Institute or the Gamble Building, and it opened on the 5th of November in 1896. So that's David Gamble. So the Gamble Building, it did begin as a library and a technical school which provided qualifications for local industries, and it was because St Helens was fast becoming a town with lots of industrial opportunity, so glass, coal, and David Gamble wanted to build a school for, and I will quote, the purpose of assisting our people to make themselves equal or superior to those countries where technical education has been an institution for a great number of years. So the library, or the central library, as many people will probably know it, occupied the ground floor, and the basement was a school which ran classes for engineering and plumbing. So on that note, I will now show you the items that I have prepared for you. So I'm just going to take off the covering because this is very fragile, this first one. Okay, so this is a plan of the Gamble Institute dating back to 1894, and I thought I'd get this out just to show you, because like I said just then, it was a school and a library. So the ground floor library store here, which many of you will remember it by. I don't actually think it's ever moved rooms. But then the basement. So we have the engineering lab here. And if you do ever get the opportunity to come down, the still numbers where the classrooms used to be, which is very interesting. So we've got the plumbing classroom here, the corridor in the basement, and then it also says manual rooms. And I'm not quite sure what that would have been. And then a building classroom, and then something called a metallurgical lab as well. So it's just to give you an idea. Oh, and an engine and dynamo house as well there. So it's just to give you an idea of what the Gamble Institute was when it opened 2 years later. So it's just a plan of what the actual building was used for. So I'll just put the covering over it and then I'll move on. So we've got more photographs. The first one, well the first two actually, is the front of the Gamble building, and these date from circa 1900. So it wouldn't have been open for that long. So that's the exterior, and then inside the school. Now I think some of you might remember this one. If you've been in the Gamble building a lot, you probably will recognise this being on the stairwell. So this is the original one. So they date circa 1900. And then the next one was a library. Now all these photographs date from 1894 to 1996. So that would have been the lending counter way back when. Alright, so then the next piece is from the St Helens Borough Council Town Clerk's Department. And this one, now this does actually date to 1896 on the 16th of October. And it's a requisition to the Mayor of St Helens, who was then Henry Martin. And it's from members of the council requesting that they confer the honorary freedom of the borough on David Gamble. And you can see all the signatures at the bottom as well of all the members of the council. Yeah. So then the next one is a invitation, it seems, by the Technical Education Committee, dating the 11th of October 1898, and it was an invitation for the presentation and unveiling of the bust of Sir David Gamble. And it was Edward Onslow Ford who sculpted the bust for a fee of 300 guineas, and it was unveiled at a ceremony at the town hall. And I think the bust is currently at the World of Glass, so you can go and see that. And then the last photographs I've got here for you are more actually the first one here is of the funeral of David Gamble. So like I mentioned earlier, he was a very, very popular man because he did so much to help the town, and I think this photograph speaks volumes, just with the amount of people that are lined up, just out of respect and what he actually did for the town, and it shows them the man's popularity and how much he was respected. And then the last one is of David Gamble himself, and I think this was him going around the town as part of a electoral campaign. So this is David Gamble here, wearing the top hat. If I can just hold it up for you. Ah yes, yeah. And it's Mr. Dixon Nuttall sitting beside him as well. So it's for a parliamentary election that he was going around the town for, winning everyone's votes. Now the very, very last item I will show you. Now this, we don't really have much information on, but we did like it very, very much when we saw it. So the only information we have is that it was actually conserved in 1996. And it's a big book of news cuttings and little artefacts of David Gamble and the Gamble Institute. So here it looks like is a maybe an invitation or presentation opening of the actual Gamble Institute, and as you can see it's dated October 1896. I can just turn the page for you. So again, more newspaper cuttings, more invitations and tickets, and then also if I just turn again there, it will give you another newspaper cutting about the Gamble building and David Gamble. Now this is something we hope to get out a lot more because we think it's very, very interesting, and someone's gone through a lot of hard work to put this together. Okay, so thank you again for joining me for today's Live from the Archives. Now don't forget to follow the library service on social media, which will give you a lot more updated information about what is going on. But also I would still like to tell you about our current archive project. So we would like to encourage you, the people of St Helens, to record your experiences of life during lockdown. So this is so we can preserve the memory in the archive so that future generations know what we are currently going through. Again, it could be in the form of photographs, diaries, scrapbooks, or even leaflets and notices that have been posted to you regarding the coronavirus. So again, thank you very much. Stay safe, take care, goodbye.